On today's show, metal is center stage. From the design to your home as it makes sparks fly to an artist that makes art in the big scale. Hello and welcome to another edition of Max Magazine. I'm your host, Brad Graves. In today's episode, this is going to be fun. It's a very artistic episode because today we're going to meet some very talented, unique men and women who are very talented at what they do. These men and women are very adept at working with metals. Which brings us here to the Neil Balkwill Center in Regina. Here, we're going to meet a very talented woman named Melody. Now, before we do show you what Melody does, we're going to take you to Saskatoon to meet two very talented women who are very adept at working with metal and making beautiful designs, both beautiful and functional, for their clients.
I used to work in the industry, but what I did was management. And I always was jealous of the guys who were in the back shop because they were able to create things and to work with their hands. I love that part. I love the challenge of coming in and knowing that we need to do something and the realization that I'm the only one who can do it because we are Remnant. It's just Naomi and I. You know, there's not a bunch of men in the back who can build these things for me.
Being a business owner, you kind of get to do everything, which is part of the joys and challenges. But my background is actually in architecture and space planning. So I have a degree in environmental design from the University of Manitoba. So I come from that background. Since working with steel, my eyes have been open to the possibilities and what you can do with steel, and it's pretty incredible. I don't look at any pattern the same or any graphic the same, and even in terms of architecture, I think in steel. You notice things that you didn't notice before. When you go to a restaurant, you notice a light fixture that you maybe never would have recognized before, or a texture even. Yeah. Steel's pretty sexy.
I spend a lot of time actually at the machine programming what we're going to cut. It takes probably almost as much time as the actual cutting because the machine is so fast. So it's very computer intensive. So I take drawings that Naomi has made and I input them into our system and then take that to the machine. A plasma cutting machine is something that's widely used in the industry. They actually started using plasma cutting machines during the Second World War. It started when they needed to weld on a large scale, and so the plasma cutting table began. It's like a saw, but it uses gases. So it takes a gas and it heats it to an intense level and turns it into the fourth state of matter, which is plasma. Different materials are cut using different gases. The most common is we actually use a lot of air. So when I'm cutting aluminum, I'm actually just using air, which still blows my mind how that even works.
It looks so good. It's Saskatoon.
One of my favorite pieces that we've done to date is definitely a Saskatoon skyline piece that we did. It is a profile of the University Bridge and also has the downtown in the background.
And we're cutting it for Metric Design Center, which is a business that started the exact same time that we did. It's a design center on 2nd Avenue. They carry some of our stuff in store, so we're doing up a new piece for one of their walls.
What inspires me in my work is different depending on the type of product. If it's artwork, I'm inspired by things I like, things I enjoy, things that are playful or inspire me, things that are graphic and fun and light. I also like things that are ironic, that you wouldn't necessarily think of as being cut out of steel or something people wouldn't necessarily associate with steel. And in terms of signage and some of our other types of products, I would definitely say that architecture is definitely a big influence, and just general design principles and how they can be related to numbers and signage, and just an overall general sense of clean, modern design.
We've built our company around the idea that we are part of a bigger story. And so when we see our pieces, little remnants, out in the public, it fills us with a sense of enthusiasm that now we are a part of someone's story. And because it's steel, we firmly believe that it's gonna probably outlive us. So it's an interesting way to leave a mark in the area.
Welcome back. I'd now like to introduce you to a very talented artist in her own right. This is Melody Armstrong. So first off, Melody, thanks a lot for being on the show.
Thank you.
Okay, now Melody, we're here at the Neil Balkwell Center, and this is where you're an artist in residence, but we'll get to that in a minute. How long have you been an artist?
I've been an artist most of my life. I went to art school to study jewelry in particular in 1999, so I've been a jewelry artist ever since.
And how long have you been an artist in residence here at the Neil Balkwell Center?
I've been the resident artist here since 2009. I taught classes for 2 years before that, but now I'm here full time.
Now you teach classes to the general public, those who are interested in making jewelry. How many classes are there a year? How long are they?
There's 4 classes per session, 4 sessions a year, and they're 8 weeks long, 8 students per class.
Okay, so if somebody, is there an age limit?
You have to be 16 years
16?
and over.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to partake, all they'd have to do is contact the Neil Balkwell Center and inquire, right? So now I see here some beautiful work that you're doing right now for some future projects. Okay, now we're going to show you what those are in just a second. But first, Max cameras take you to Outlook, to another artist's very busy metal workshop.
I was an art student back in the University of Saskatchewan, and my final year I finally met up with Bill Epp, who was my sculpture prof, and Bill became my mentor. And in 1968, he started off on a sculpture symposium at the Mendel Gallery, and I built a piece of sculpture which is about 15 feet tall, and it's still there. And I've been sculpting ever since. It was primarily the ease and convenience of having used materials from my father's first and then my brother's tractor company, which keeps me going. There's so much junk there that I keep saying that I'm the eldest son, so I get the first crack at the scrap pile. If they don't like it, I tell my mom. She's 95 years old and still telling us all what to do. We're in the shop of Dale Hicks in Outlook, Saskatchewan. And Dale is a sculptor, and he's a friend of mine, and we got together less than a year ago, actually, for our first commission. He and I got together, we built this sandhill crane. Sandhill crane was very indicative of the Outlook venue. It's a place that the cranes come in the fall, and there could be, 8 to 10,000 of them up and down the valley. And so we built this crane, and it turned out very well. We built a horse out of triangles and curves and voids and rods that we thought would be the essence of the horse as we saw it. Why don't I continue with the form I'm in, because I'm just scratching the surface as far as understanding what it's all about. I've only been at it for about 35 years, so there's many more years to go. I relate to the spatial composition form and space, solid form and negative form, and how the two relate to each other, and how the two can relate to produce a third element. Like there's more to a drawing than there is a pencil line on a piece of paper. There's the implied, and the same thing happens with the three-dimensional art form. You can get an implied essence beyond the tactile piece that's in front of your eyes. My favorite part of the whole thing, though, is just involving in the process and discovering some different ways in which the metal will react when you do something to it, and it gives you the impetus to other things. Sometimes you see things evolving that you hadn't planned at all, and you can capture them, and you can capitalize on them, and hopefully bring it back to a different time and place. I'm actually a modeler. I model things rather than carve things. I don't take away, I add to. In sculpture, you're either building up or you're taking away from something's there already. I've got pieces at the University Sculpture Garden and one down the Remnant Steel, and various individuals have different pieces of mine around town in their yards and their personal collections. So that's it's edifying to know that somebody cares enough about to put it up, to show it, to tolerate it. It's satisfying.
Okay, now we get to see Melody's latest project, what you're working on. You're creating some beautiful jewelry here for a project called Dimensions. What's that all about?
Dimensions 2013 is a call for entry put on by the Saskatchewan Craft Council. They do it every 2 years. So artists around the province of Saskatchewan can enter up to 2 pieces. And they have a jury that selects up to 34 pieces. And those pieces are included in a group exhibition that tours around for the next 2 years.
Oh, wow. And you've had pieces in this exhibit or exhibits like this before, haven't you?
Yes.
I know you've been in magazines, you've written articles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So today you're working on some beautiful pieces. What is it we're looking at right here? The materials that you're using.
Well, I am using sterling silver and copper with enamel on top. And I will be doing stone settings later on with diamonds and constructing a neck piece.
Because I can see you do the drawings first, and that's going to look like a beautiful necklace when it's all done. And is that real silver?
It is. Sterling silver.
This is a plate of sterling silver. I'd be afraid to cut into this and make a mistake. Is it hard to cut?
It's not hard, and I can show you how.
Really? Oh, awesome. Okay, I'm going to learn how to cut this. If I can do this, anybody can. But before we do, we're going to take you to an artist in Saskatoon. Now, unlike using original material, Patricia uses recycled materials. That's her focus. And her projects stand tall in the city of Saskatoon. Take a look.
I grew up in a household full of art. My mother was the curator for the city of North Battleford for about 30 years. And I always felt that some of those influences have carried on in my initial works. I ended up going to university and getting a commerce degree, worked in the area of business for a number of years. And then when I retired, I needed something to fill that void. So I started at the University of Saskatchewan, just taking a couple of classes, and second year sculpture, I discovered that I had an affinity for metal. We had 2 seconds of instruction on how to weld 2 pieces together, and then that was the initial part of the class, and then we had to produce some work, and I ended up finding that I could make a beautiful work of art just with one weld and using recycled materials. This is my very first piece that I sort of attempted. It's called Flow, and I I found that the metal seemed to be, as I shaped and colored it and ended up welding the pieces together, I had these flowing liquid looking pieces, and they didn't look like cold hard steel anymore. They looked like beautiful sensuous works that you might want to stroke or touch, or they seem to have a beautiful organic feel to them. I just found that the larger the pieces got, the more exciting they were, and I don't know why, but I ended up working with these thousands of pound pieces. Where the progression came in was at Emma Lake. We had I was involved in the Emma Lake Woodturners seminar or session. I think it was in 2004, and somebody brought some plexiglass. And so what you do is you just play with materials, create work, collaborate with somebody, and then that work is auctioned off to pay for the next 2-year event. So I just started heating up this plexiglass with a torch, which is probably not right because it's very toxic, but I ended up creating these really beautiful fluid shapes. And I just found that, again, I could create something fabulous just with just a small little bit of an intervention in the material. I ended up meeting a plexiglass manufacturer, Dave from Laser Impressions. Dave loves working with artists. He enjoys his work with corporate commissions to produce things, but he just really loves working with us. So he's been giving me some of his recycled material. I have a whole truckload he gave me one year. So I've been producing work from a lot of those recycled pieces. It's the same with the metal. I try and use recycled material as much as I can, because why buy something new at 10 times the cost when you can actually recycle something, and again, it's an environmental thing for me. So a lot of the work today just is a result of that first Emma Lake event where I sort of started playing and found that I really enjoyed that material. It's also lightweight, so the 2-ton and 3-ton pieces of work that I've been working on just doesn't work anymore for my size and my age. So I've been trying to transition into some lighter weight materials. The response that I get from my son's friends when they were in high school and just kids at Halloween that come to my door is that, "Oh, that's just so cool, Mrs. Stushanov." And a lot of kids just want to know what is that? As a person nearing retirement, I'm challenged a little bit in that I've produced so many works and my house is so full, and a lot of the work has come back. Most of my commercial galleries have closed because of economic problems. So to continue producing is sort of redundant in some respects because I've just got so much work. So I'm sort of trying to rationalize what it is that I'm going to do from here on in.
This is going to be fun. I've never done this before. We're actually going to start cutting metal. But this is very fine metal, and we're using very, very fine tools. So Melody, first off, what is this material that we're going to cut into?
This is a sheet of brass, and this is what I start all my students out with, and I teach them how to saw on this.
Okay, good, because I'm a first timer, so I'll work with the brass. And now what is this?
So you're going to be using a jeweler's saw. It has a very fine saw blade. You can barely see the teeth.
That looks like a piece of floss.
No.
but you wouldn't want to floss with it. That would not end in a good result at all.
So to start sawing, you're going to start at an angle.
Okay.
And make a little groove into your metal.
Now, I don't need to secure this down. I just need to...
You're just going to hold it with your other hand.
Okay.
And
Right.
once you have a groove established.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to start sawing straight up and down to
Okay.
continue. And you don't need to push into the metal.
No.
You just need to kind of gently go up and down.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, now just straight up and down like that?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is easy. I'm surprised. That it's like butter. Look at that. Oh, and I can easily see how you can make curves and that. Wow.
Any shape you want.
That is very, very cool. Okay. So this is how all your students begin.
Yes.
Now, you've been teaching this for a while, a lot of students taking part. Have you had any students that have gone on to sell jewelry or done shows?
Yes, I've had quite a few students who have established their own home studios, done shows, set up some of their own websites.